The Diamond League final is coming, and as far as professional track and field is concerned, this is as big as it gets. I am aware that most casual track fans only focus on the Olympics, and the one we just witnessed in Paris certainly did not disappoint. But for all the athletes who actually pay their bills from competing in the sport, they want to be competing in the Diamond League final, because pro track and field is actually a whole bunch of things. We do have the Continental Tour, as well as random meets, like the Adidas Atlanta City Games. It's really hard for even me to explain why those meets actually matter, but the Diamond League does make sense, because in the final, you're competing for a championship as one of the fastest sprinters in the world, and winning on that stage is very hard to do. Sha'Carri Richardson won the world championship last year in the 100, but didn't pull it off in the Diamond League. In fact, Shericka Jackson swept the Diamond League final in both the 100 and the 200, but due to her injury status, I don't expect her to be on the starting line this year, and that means we should have brand new champions in both events. So I figured, with an event this big going off, I should tell you my thoughts about what's going to happen out there on the track. That way, if I get it right, I can just tell you that I told you so. And if I get it wrong, I'm just going to tell you that I'm human. It would also take way too long to go through every single event that they have in the final, so I'm not going to do that. Instead, I'm going to focus on the sprinting events, the 100, the 200, and the 400 for the women. So here is a breakdown of what is about to happen when all the fastest women in the world get together on one track. And remember, if all of the fast people are in the same race, somebody's gonna have to look slow, which is exactly why winning in the Diamond League means so much if you can pull it off. But before I go any further, I do need to address the Sydney McLaughlin-Levrone situation, because she did not run any Diamond League races this year, but did put down some of the fastest times in the world in both the 200 and the 400. The Diamond League extended an invite for her to compete in the final for both events, and then they had to take it away because technically she doesn't qualify for not running a Diamond League meet earlier in the season. Nobody really knows what she can do in either event, and I believe I speak for most track fans by saying that I really want to find out. So instead, she is going to be running in special sections for the 200 and the 400. She's not going to be out there with the people technically running in the final, but she will get to put down a time. So when it comes to the 400 specifically, I could spend a whole bunch of time talking about the two contenders before I get on to the favorite, but I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to point out that Keisha Price is incredibly fast, but she's also been running races since January at the college level. They're the reason why she didn't make the Olympic final in the 400 meter dash. She has a whole bunch of miles on those legs, and that might still catch up to her in the Diamond League final. However, Rafida Adeleke has made the 400 meter dash look incredibly interesting while she's running it, and she was there in the Olympic final. But I don't expect either of them to be anywhere close to Maralady Paulino. They were the reason why she just broke the Olympic record in the 400 meter dash. It's the same reason why she's also undefeated on the Diamond League in that event. So if I'm going to be 100% honest, we all know who is supposed to win the 400 meter dash for the Diamond League final. What we don't know is how fast Sydney McLaughlin-Levrone is going to run in her special section, because that time just might beat her out, which basically makes that event come down to a time trial, even if Sydney can't win a trophy regardless of how fast she goes. But the 200 meter dash is way more interesting because we've got challengers, contenders, and of course I've got to tell you about the favorites. And specifically in that event, Marie-Josée Talu-Smith is a challenger. She didn't run the event much, but when she did, she made it look interesting, so she might sneak into one of the top 3 spots. Yet Dina Asher-Smith was a whole lot more consistent, although she never pulled out a Diamond League victory this year on the circuit. But the challenger that I want to call the most attention to has to be Anavia Battle. Although she competes for America, she didn't make Team USA for the Olympics. But don't let that fool you. She's mixed it up with the women I'm about to mention, and this is her Olympics, so I expect her to make it look very interesting. But Daryl Nita has to be taken seriously as a contender. She only got the victory once, but that was in a race against Sha'Carri Richardson. But the fact that she's been right there around the top 3 a whole bunch of times leads me to believe she's probably going to do it again in the Diamond League final. Yet this is where things get interesting, because Brittany Brown is also a contender, but she's also the Olympic bronze medalist now in the 200 meter dash. though it shouldn't be surprising that she won 2 Diamond League circuit races this year. And the only 2 women who beat her at the Olympics are the only 2 who likely can do it again in the Diamond League final. Which brings us now to the favorites, because of course, I don't know who's gonna actually run the final, but assuming that they do, it's gonna come down to Julien Alfred and Gabby Thomas, just like the Olympic final. If I had to pick one of them to not run the final, I'd probably say Gabby Thomas, because she already got Olympic gold. On top of that, she hasn't competed since the Olympics have ended. But in her last Diamond League 200, she beat Julien Alfred, running her down at the line. That was the only time that Julien ran that event on the circuit this year. And you already know what she did at the Olympics, and she's been back on the track since that moment. So I don't expect anybody who is not named Gabby Thomas to beat her as long as she is on the starting line. But if you're new here, I want to say thank you for even making it this far into the video. And I'm Coach Rob, the founder of SCArecruiting.com, where I rank the best track and field recruits across the entire nation. And if anything that I say actually connects with you, it is always greatly appreciated if you would please like and subscribe. But if I don't, just let me know in the comment section, because I try to read them all. Yet all of that brings us to the 100-meter dash, which I expect to be the main event for everything that will go down in Brussels. Not just because it's the 100, but because it's basically going to be an Olympic rematch. You already know which 2 women I'm talking about at the top. But before I get into all that, I'm going to give you everybody else who's going to chase after her. My one dark horse to make at least some noise is Patricia van der Weken. If you don't know who I'm talking about, all you need to know is she did pull out 1 Diamond League victory on the circuit this year. But after that, I honestly think we have 4 challengers. I don't see any of these women making it in the top 3 if everybody runs the way they're supposed to. But the order these 4 women finish, it could go either way. Tamari Davis didn't make Team USA for the Olympics. She also didn't beat Daryl Nita in the 100-meter dash. But she did beat Dina Asher-Smith once in that event, so you can't count her out. And it can also go back and forth between Marie-José Talu-Smith and Tia Clayton. They were both there in the Olympic final, and in their last Diamond League race, Tia Clayton got her at the line, barely, by less than 1/100th of a second. Your guess is as good as mine on how that's going to play out. But Daryl Nita is my top challenger, and there's a real reason why. She was 4th at the Olympics, had the Diamond League victory over Tamari Davis in the 100, and has consistently gone top 4 in just about any event that she runs, the 100 or the 200 on the Diamond League circuit. I don't expect that to change now, so she's probably going to finish about 4th place in the final. At least that's what history is telling us. But Dina Asher-Smith, who also joins her representing Great Britain, is the only contender that I have. I said a contender, I didn't say favorite. She won the 100-meter dash in Lausanne and finished 3rd in Zurich. The only reason that matters is because she was in the front of that race through 80 meters. The 2 women who got past her are the 2 women I'm about to mention. Only 1 woman on this list who I've already mentioned has beaten her in the 100, and that was Tamari Davis. So what I've been trying to say about that Zurich race is it was Julien Alfred and Sha'Carri Richardson ahead of her. And yes, those 2 women are the favorites, and I expect them to be on the starting line. That is why this is the main event. You know what happened during the games, so I don't need to explain it. But Sha'Carri Richardson is still the reigning world champion, and Julien Alfred is now the reigning Olympic champion. This will officially be episode 6 of their head-to-head rivalry since they both turned professional. And we even know the script of how the race is going to go. Julien Alfred is almost undoubtedly going to get off the block better than everybody else in the race. Through 60 meters, she's probably going to be in the front. The only question is, can Sha'Carri Richardson stay close enough to run her down? She pulled it off in Zurich, barely, and she might be able to do it again. I'm sticking with Julien Alfred as my pick, because I took her during the Olympics as well. But once again, that one could go either way, and no matter which one of them gets the victory, it would be the first Diamond League championship for either of them. If you're serious about competing in track and field, you want to win at the highest level. Of course, most people think of that at the Olympic Games, but that only comes around once every 4 years. So if running faster than the competition is really what you do, then you need to prove it in the Diamond League, specifically in their final. And if you can win that race, you'll get $30,000 just for pulling it off on that day. But the money is besides the point, because track and field is a competitive sport, where you have to get to the finish line before everybody else. And no matter how many races you've run during the season, there is always one race where you actually have to pull it off. So this year's Diamond League final is going to be epic in the short sprints. But if you can't find the time to watch the races yourself, I'm pretty sure Netflix is going to fill you in anyway on their sprint docu-series next year, if you can wait that long. The sport of track and field is not just about running fast, it is about doing it over and over and over again, because whenever you step to the line, your reputation is on the line as well. With the Wake Up, Run Fast, and Repeat shirt, you can make it clear that running faster than the competition is a habit. Get yours at scarecruiting.com/shop or use the link in the description below. It's a huge support to me and this channel, so I can continue to make you more content like this. And remember, it is always greatly appreciated if you would please like and subscribe.